Now let's talk about how Unicell product integrates into Hayward's Compose panel system. When mounting a Unicell work surface into Compose, the bracket is different. You will see this bracket in the Hayward Healthcare price list. It's unique because it is designed to receive a Unicell rail configuration called a cantilever kit, shown here in red. The cantilever kit provides both a section of Unicell rail so that deep cells can be mounted below the work surface, as well as a standoff bar to prevent the cell from deflecting towards the Compose tile. And to mount a Unicell shallow cell or shelf unit above a work surface, the upper kit for Compose would be specified. The upper kit would also be used to hang either a 27 module deep or 27 module shallow cell from a Compose panel. Here is a photo that demonstrates the use of those components. Again, the upper kit is used for overhead position cells or shelf units. The Healthcare Compose cantilevers plus cantilever kit is used for work surfaces and lower position cells. And also, the Healthcare Compose cantilevers can be used on their own if cell storage below the work surface is not required. I've created a summary sheet to show the differences between which components are needed for a wall mount application and then which ones are needed for Compose mount. One thing to point out regarding the differences between wall mount and Compose mount, the standoff key is required for cells in a wall mount application, but not in a Compose mount application. This is because the standoff in Compose mount is part of the cantilever kit and the upper Compose kit. It is also important to note that only 25-inch deep work surfaces are used for wall mount and 30-inch deep work surfaces plus side corner brackets for Compose mount. Now that the main groups of Unicell product have been covered, including how Unicell integrates into Compose, let's do a quick visual exercise of the sequence that you may want to use to create a product plan using Unicell. This would also be a good way to check over a spec list in a CIF file to ensure you have all the correct parts and pieces. For example purposes, we will use a Unicell wall mount scenario. As mentioned near the beginning of this presentation, the Unicell rail is always the starting point. Consideration needs to be given for both the upper and lower rail positions, depending on what the scope of other Unicell product is you have planned. In this instance, an 8-foot upper rail is required and a 6-foot lower rail. Again, these are the same product, just installed in 2 different positions. Secondly, you would address work surface requirements in terms of size, material type, wall mount or mobile, and the number of brackets. Thirdly, think about your wall mount storage requirements, whether it is a Unicell cell assembly that you've created or a shelf unit. Be sure to check that all enclosures and interior components correspond properly to the base cell unit. Next, add any mobile components such as cells with casters, cells with dollies, or distribution carts. And lastly, specify accessories that are required to add into drawers, trays, shelf units, or in the case of the sink shroud, onto work surfaces. And there you have a basic Unicell product application. Let's move on to the last module of this Basics of Unicell Product workshop.